said.
Welcome to Dukes United show, and I'm joined by Hakeem and Garth as always. And Manchester United lost 3-1. I've just come back from my son's match, and I'm lucky. I've been told I'm lucky that I didn't get to actually see anything. So let's start with Garth. Garth, tell me, did I miss anything or what?
I mean, it depends. Do you like being depressed all weekend, mate? Because if you do, then yeah, you missed a great game for you. But otherwise, absolutely horrific performance from us in the end. I was a little like, in the first 20 minutes, we looked like we might have something about us. I was a little harsh in the group when we started, to be fair. Just a little saying, looked like we had a bit of fast movement. Like, still none of the stuff we need, control in the middle, like penetration, end product, but a little bit better. But yeah, after they scored, it was nothing but Brighton. They controlled the game from the back, in the middle, and up front, made us look silly. I think one of the commentators said that De Zerbi has tactically outclassed Ten Hag today, and I have to agree. I have to agree.
Hakeem, I was on the pitch, and actually my phone was pinging off it, and I seen you guys saying, what's weird is I'm seeing like, at least we're playing some good stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it's bloody hell. And I'm like, oh no, we've conceded. I just knew it. Well, FFFS, all I'm seeing.
I mean, the problem is we started off, we're playing some good stuff. Rashford, sometimes I just think to myself, has he got poo in between his ears? Because he's got talent, he gets the ball. Højlund's like standing there just waiting to tap the ball in. He just keeps trying to shot. He just keeps trying to lash it in. I think he probably got one shot on target. He's getting loads of the ball. He's not laying people up. He's not passing it back. He just gets his head down. He's not even looking at what's around him. That's the first thing. Then Casemiro looks shocked. So, to be honest, before the match, when I saw McTominay was playing, I thought, all right, Ten Hag's realised he needs to play two people at the back because Casemiro can't do anything. And then McTominay's just roaming all over the pitch, not doing any defensive duty whatsoever. He's playing with Eriksen next to Casemiro, sort of. Flipping Fernandez is on the right wing. And you're just thinking, what sort of formation is this? Anyway, you still give him a bit of a blight because you're thinking, actually, it's working for the first 20 minutes. And then they get one attack. No, it's not even an attack, really. It's just like they run down the wing, cut it back, and Welbeck just comes in on his own and just taps it in the back. And I'm thinking, so where's the midfield? Nobody's marking, no one's tracking him. And I can accept that because, all right, yeah, you can have a lapse in concentration. But then for the rest of the game, you're thinking, is Ten Hag not seeing that Casemiro cannot run? He can't move at all. He got caught on the ball about 3 times because he's half asleep. And then when he gets caught on the ball, the guy just runs past him and he just stands there. And he doesn't even go with him. And he's thinking, well, fortunately, it was about 70 minutes, 75 minutes. I think he realised that I need to take Casemiro off, brings Hannibal on. Hannibal sticks it in the top corner. And you're thinking, well, why have you not been playing this lad then? Why are you playing with old people who cannot move? They just cannot move.
Oh my God. This is crazy, man. Because you know what? Let me just tell you about that. Because I was like, I really hope we don't get another Matic situation. Because his first season, he came in, he did really well. He couldn't move, but he did really well. Then all of a sudden, he really couldn't move for the next season. And then he was non-existent. And when Casemiro came in, I actually had a little bit of a doubt when I first saw him in the first few games. I thought, he looks like he's treading treacle here. And then he started putting in them great performances. And then I was like, I really hope we didn't buy him at that twilight where he only has that one good season. And then all of a sudden, it's over. And it's looking that way, Garth. I don't know, you're nodding your head like, yeah, you're damn right. So tell me, what's on your mind?
No, I'm just agreeing with you, Nathan, completely. Was it yourself who came to put in the group Matic syndrome? Was that yourself who was putting it in there?
Oh, you did that?
Yeah, mate, I mean, it's looking that way. He definitely came back pre-season looking like he'd had a good holiday, definitely overweight. I was hoping it was just a slow start, but 5 games in, I'm seeing no improvement in his pace. I think for me, the biggest problem is what Hakeem said about getting caught on the ball. Just like we're talking about Casemiro, he has to have more awareness than that, which means it must be a fitness thing. But yeah, 5 games in, listen, it's looking that way that, his legs are completely shot. And he can't look. I'm not a big fan of the new lingo of double pivot, single pivot, but he cannot play single defensive midfielder with, for some reason, like against Scott McTominay playing Rumador. Like, what's he done on the training field? That Ten Hag's all of a sudden like, yeah, you know what, mate? I see a little bit of Zidane in you. Let's go. Like, crazy,
trying to run with it
crazy.
again. And run
well,
it.
Well,
They played at AM Centre basically for the first, like for a lot of the game, mate. Yeah. Madness.
It depends how you determine whether you try to run with it. He was trying to run with it as much as McTominay can run with it. I mean, to be honest, and I feel sorry for McTominay because he's been asked to play a role that he can't play. He's been asked to play a role that he doesn't play in Man United. And it was very clear from the first minute. I think he was, I mean, and I'm not a fan of Scott McTominay, but when he's given a defensive job, he normally does an okay job. He can't distribute the ball. You know, give it to Eriksen and let Eriksen spray it about. But he didn't act. He was completely non-existent. I can't even think, apart from the commentator saying, "Oh, McTominay's pressed very well there." Oh, he's given the ball away. That's about the only thing I can remember. He did absolutely. He's just running around because really, you know, if you were playing a double pivot and all these stupid terms now, but if you're playing a double pivot, Welbeck would have never run in. But by the same token, you look at the rest of our players. If you look at Welbeck's running off the ball. He's dropping deep. He's coming into midfield to receive the ball. Rashford looked like he was bored from about minute 5. He was like throwing his hands up as if, well, you got. I think you're 23, mate. You should have legs. You should be running between. If I look at Bernardo Silva will mark 5 men himself for about 5 minutes. He'll just be running between the people. Rashford runs to one player and then goes, and then just gives up. And that to me is the biggest problem that we have as a team. We don't put any sort of like pressing. We put a pressing like once or twice a game, then go, we can't be bothered anymore.
I feel like we've lost our heads a bit with as a team. The players have lost their heads a bit with like what Ten Hag brought in the first place with this structure. It's like we've got no structure again. I'm looking at the team. I was watching towards the second half. I watched from like 65, 70 minutes, and it's like we're a team that just goes forward without a clue of how to go forward. And then Brighton got the ball and they were just all in triangles, offering themselves up as options. Pop, 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 and went out the other side. I'm like, why can't we do it? Why is it players of this good ability can't do that? It makes no sense to me. But let's just quickly take a look at this. Jinwei says, if Ten Hag is not the right man, I don't know who is the right man. Jerome Cruiser says Casemiro is done. It's been too long. This is happening now. And then Rashford's decision making is like my wife choosing that what's for dinner.
Mine and your missus are the same then, Drone Cruiser. That's exactly the conversation I have every night. What do you want for dinner? Apart from you don't smash plates nowhere near the goal. So
one of them ones where you go, you choose. Chicken. No. Okay. Yeah. No. So why'd you say me choose then? But yeah, too many players actually stinks. You know what? Here's the thing though. Casemiro, on the ball, I don't expect to lose his ability. So I don't understand why he's even making mistakes on the ball so much at the moment. That's the bit that annoys me a bit. I don't mind if he's going to get beat for pace because that's what he's always been a beat for. But come on, what happened to your seeing the play and like getting out of trouble and popping it to people quickly? I haven't seen that yet this season. Like this season's been poor every single game.
Let me ask this as the ex-pro life. If you're not physically fit, will that affect your mental ability on the pitch? Because that's what I think it is with Casemiro, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think he's physically fit, and I think that's affecting his actual players, like his actual normal passing. Because misplaced passes all over the place, getting tackled from behind. Silly.
Yeah. So if you're unfit, you're not fit enough your legs won't move when you want it to move. So then you'll miscontrol the ball when your legs are normally strong to be able to get hold of it and move it and pop it. You lose it. That's where the more misplaced, unforced errors start coming. And the minute you get fit, that's when it stops happening because your legs can handle it. So yeah, I do agree there. You're right. If he actually isn't fit, which I actually kind of put out of the back of my mind, I thought, nah, he just has that chubby face look and everyone's thinking he's actually unfit, but he actually probably is unfit. And then we've got John Cruiser saying, but then they end up choosing tuna and beans. They have the ability, but the mentality and character is too many players is awful. Yeah, to be fair, there's a bit of that.
My question there is, And we always say, well, whose fault is that then? Because
Yeah.
because you can't give, and I consistently say it, you can't give credit to Ten Hag when it all goes well and the mentality is right and the structure's right and everything's going well. But then when it falls apart, then let's just play them. Oh, it's the players. Well, what's Ten Hag doing then? Is Ten Hag not going into training? He's just sleeping at home and letting everybody else get on with it. You know, if you look at the defensive lapses they've had this season, that's all about structure. So yes, I can accept it once, like against Wolves, where they're just running straight through us. But then you say, right, we're going to work on defensive shape. We're going to work on defensive structure. And I don't care who you put in the team. I think Lindelof is a plant, to be fair. But he's still a professional footballer who should know that actually there's a player there who's free and he's the striker. So I need to go and mark him. And if I don't mark him, all right, I go in and I challenge. I can't remember who he challenged for the actual goal. He goes in and he does it all the time. He just dangles a leg out behind him as if to say, oh, well, look, I'm making a challenge. But he's not really making a challenge. Go and get the ball. Go and put... If Lindelof puts in a strong challenge, the ball never gets to Welbeck, and Welbeck doesn't stroke in. But then it's just like all the way through the team because he's then thinking, where's McTominay? Where's Casemiro? How the hell has Welbeck run from the midfield in a straight line, unchallenged, and then tap the ball into the back of the net? You're just thinking, what's going on here? That has to be Ten Hag because everyone can see what's going on. It's not hard to see it. You know, we're playing a whole game without a right winger. You know, it's ridiculous.
Let's see what John Cruz is saying. That's the loudest dissent I've heard against a manager since he's been here. He took off Højlund for Martial. It sounds like the fans were turning on the manager. He's probably saving him from the Bayern game. So from my reaction to that is obviously Højlund isn't 100% fit. So he was always going to get a certain amount of minutes, no matter what happens in the game. You can't force him to play while fatigued. He's going to get injured. Then we're in big trouble. But here's a question for you then, Garth, first. Last season, when we lost our key players and we started playing them games where we were not the best, do you think, that this season we've got less players to choose from? So it's naturally going to be even worse than the last season where we had to handle it. So can we give Ten Hag a bit of a blight because we got so many injuries? Or do you say he should be doing better with the reserves of the team? I don't know. What you tell me?
We've got the most expensive squad assembled in the history of football. Literally, that's literal. Our team is the most expensively assembled squad in the history of football. Yes, his plans have definitely taken a hit with key signings, Mount going down injured, Amrabat not being available to him. But I don't think you can use it as an excuse at this moment in time. I agree with what someone said earlier. There is no one else out there at the moment, but Ten Hag needs to be taking a look at himself and realizing that he cannot be playing, as Hakeem said, as I say, you cannot be playing Casemiro on his own against teams that press like this. You cannot. There's so many things that he's sticking with and refusing to budge on. You know, like, listen, we've got no Anthony, which is a big loss to this system. We've got no Sancho now. We've got no Mount. The three big boys. I always come back to John Cruz thing. Exactly what you said about Højlund. Højlund, literally, that's his first start since May or whatever. You know what I mean? So he ain't up to match fitness yet either. The team is in disarray, but he's got enough options there to get 11 boys on the pitch to put in a better performance than that. Even if we lost 1-0 or saying, the performance stunk out the gaff. There were too many players who, and we keep talking about how Ten Hag's got like this air of authority, mate. If Rashford was doing what he was doing today with Fergie on the touchline, Fergie's walking on and dragging him off. But like it ain't happening. It just isn't happening. Yeah. So now I'm wondering whether it's more the dressing room doesn't have the respect for the gaffer that I'd hope that they would have, like something like that. But no, there's no excuse there for me, Nathan. Like personally, I don't know where you're sitting with that, Hakeem. Like no.
There's a couple of things, isn't there? So people always say this, we got this injury, got that injury. Right. So 1 to 11, Brighton made 6 changes. Are you telling me that 1 to 11 of Brighton is better than a 1 to 11 of Man United? No chance. Not a chance. They're not better. They're a better drill team. That's not the individual players. That's the manager. And I've made a podcast about it's a business podcast, but it's talking about the culture and the environment in which you have. You can have the best players in the world. If you've got the wrong environment, they don't perform. And Fergie, I mean, it's always unfair when you're using someone like Fergie, but Fergie is
yeah.
a perfect example. What 2012-2013 season, we won by 11 points.
Mm-hmm.
The next season, we were sixth with essentially the same team. So you can't tell me that that's because of the players. You can't tell me because it's the culture, because you've brought in a different culture, a different manager who does not know how to get the best out of players. And Ten Hag at the moment, I'm not saying he's a bad manager. We know he's a good manager, but there's something not right in terms of his management of the team, because it's not even the big gaps you can see. It's just the performances, the level of performances. It's like any bit of adversity, and everyone talks about Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest is shit. So coming to get back against Nottingham Forest is not showing how great we are. Coming back against Tottenham would show you're a good team. Coming back against someone like Brighton shows you a good team. Nottingham Forest, you expect to win that game. Most Man United fans, although we were hoping we'd beat Brighton, most of us were expecting we'd lose to Brighton. I wasn't. I wanted us to win, and I was thinking it's at Old Trafford, so we got a chance. But you were thinking every time we play Brighton, even before Ten Hag game, they always outplay us. They've outplayed us for about the past 5 or 6 years. So you'd think one manager sooner or later would think, actually, this team always gives us a good spanking, so we need to play a slightly different style, rather than just, oh, well, we're just going to go out. And as you said, Nathan, they go forward, and it's like they're heroes in their own mind. They go forward thinking we're so good, we're never gonna lose the ball. So they have no shape for when they lose it, which they invariably and inevitably do. They get to a certain point, they either lose it because Rashford blazes it somewhere, or they lose it because someone like McTominay gives it away. And then there's nobody within any shape, defensive shape, to say, right, we're going to snuff this out and go again. It's like, oh, we've lost the ball. Oh, well, let's see what happens. Oh, a goal. Oh, whoops. That's what happens every single time. It's ridiculous.
Well, here's something that I say, like, when you look at these players, I think the players' names are up there when you look at our players. But when you really look at the technical abilities, I don't know if we're better type. Like, when you look at someone like Mitoma, he's better winger than all our wingers. No doubt about it. Like, he's better winger. And then you look at our defender. I think I'd have Gross. What's his name? Sorry, at the back instead of Lindelof. I'd have Dunk over Lindelof.
Yeah, but I mean, someone I'd have Nathal over Lindelof.
The way they play and what's going on. So I mean, we played Wolves, and Wolves were playing ball against us, and I'm like, why are they like? We don't have players that can do that. It's weird. It's like Wolves, they don't have an attack, and they don't really have a proper defense, but they've got like some really good players getting into great positions, but then they're missing them little bits. It's like United. We have kind of like, if everyone's fit, we have like a strong base, but then like nothing up, like setting up chances for players, not really a focal point in scoring goals for fun. So we're missing like a certain key ingredient to what we need all three parts. Every team has got certain things. And I think so many teams are better different things than us. It's not like, you know what I mean? So when you look at player for player, there are certain techers' abilities that they have that over our players. And a lot of our players don't have that.
The only thing I'd say there, though, Nathan, if you go for it, right, because, and you're saying it based on their performances. If you look at Martial, name me one, take out Man City and Haaland, for example. Name me one person who's got better, not performance, better attributes.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I don't right. If you look at Rashford,
on that
there's not many people. Go on.
On the Martial one, he's an injured boy, so he can't play to his levels anymore. He's not capable of running the pace that he used to run at. He's not capable of doing that anymore. So he's like a player who we remember him as the old Martial, but he's never going to be that Martial ever again because he's so injury prone and he can't move anymore. So at the moment, them attributes are no longer his attributes, actually.
I'm not just talking about running, because even if you look at his technical attributes, they're better than most of the strikers. He just doesn't use them at all. He doesn't move. Rashford, I don't think there's many people who are better coming off the left than Rashford. He's just got shit for brains. Casemiro, technically, is quality. Eriksen, technically, is quality. When you go for the team, there's not many better centre-backs than Martinez in terms of technical ability. Yeah, exactly. Højlund, still to be proven, but he looks like a unit. He looks like he knows what he's doing. So yeah. So when I look at those teams, if I look at Brighton, there's very few people. That Matoma's quality, I like him, but there's very few people in Brighton. There's very few people in Brighton that I'm thinking, oh, if only we had that guy, that'd make a difference. Oh, if only had those 3 players. You know, I'm not looking like Wolves again. Yes, when they play us, then we get excited and go, oh wow, look at that guy. When you look at Wolves against anyone else, you don't look at them and think, oh, look at those quality of the players. When I see Brighton against anyone else, I'm not looking at the players and thinking, yeah, these guys are world class players. It's only when they play us that we start saying what, because they just. But if you name me a team that hasn't had a game against us, and you look at a few of the players and think, bloody hell, they're good. They always look good against us because we.
That's true.
I think you're both right. This is the thing. You're both you're both saying the same thing from different angles. I agree with what you're saying, Nate. But about different players and different teams look better on the day. But Hakeem is what I'm about. Took words out of my mouth. Man for man, the players should be better players than what we're coming up against. These are elite level players. Apparently, they're just not doing it. So even like Matoma. Like, he shouldn't be outperforming an Anthony, a Sancho, a Rashford, even a guy on that show. But it's the system. They're drilled into playing properly. And I just don't know the disconnect between what they're doing on the Man United, this is on the training field, and what's happening on a Saturday, Sunday, because there's got to be something that's going down here that isn't working. I can't believe exactly what you were saying aside again, that Ten Hag's just sitting there during training being like, yeah, I'm happy with this. And then what he's seeing is what we're seeing on a weekend. Yeah. It can't be. So there's something going wrong somewhere.
We got no end product. And what it is we've got, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. With all our players, there's something missing in their combination of what they're good at. There's something missing. But other teams, they have certain things, like as a team collectively, that mesh together properly. And that's what we don't have. So we keep going out there looking like a dead team because, look, we can play all the great football at the back as we want. But if you've got Anthony who has no end product, and then you've got Rashford who plays well in like 15-second spurts to get a goal and then he's nowhere to be seen for 90 minutes, then you've got like a striker in Martial who really can't do a lot, like, you know, and doesn't get the ball because that's not the way we play. Like, and then you've got Wan-Bissaka who doesn't overlap and cross balls like that. If you get what I mean. So it's the quality in all the areas that need to be really on point. We don't have it. That's just the reality of it. What it is.
So we just need to spend another 700 mil in January. Is what you're saying, there, Nath? Yeah. I agree with you. No, I agree with you entirely. That is what I'm saying. Like, there's something not right because what I'm trying to say is the initial point of like Brighton's got better players than us. Is I agree with Hakeem. No, they haven't. Our players aren't performing, as what I think you're saying as well now, Dave. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, like Martial, I still think he's got the ability to turn a man and have a strike. He just isn't doing it. Rashford, like what? I just can't get over how many shots he's having. He's not. Surely the gaffer isn't allowing him to do that all training. So something's going wrong from the training field to the match day performance, and I think that's what you're saying. And I agree with you. We're missing an ingredient somewhere. You know what I mean?
There's a way of putting it like that. You can be a good football player, yeah, but not have not be effective for your team. United are good in certain things, but when you look at them, they're not an effective team at all. There's no effectiveness to our game at all. There's nothing I look at and go, wow, they do that really well. Like nothing apart from now.
Capitulate.
Was from goalkeeper to defense and then back to goalkeeper and to defense. What we did against Arsenal, we kept it okay at the back, right at the back, but didn't do anything else going forward, any further forward than that. I see a lot of good play from all these other teams. For some reason, we cannot do it. I don't know what it is. And Alex Ferguson was able to do it, wasn't he?
Yeah, and
he was able to find them players.
But that's the point. Well, it's not always just finding the players. It's about, it's about getting the right mentality and the structure into the player. Because you can't tell me that group of players, 1 to 20, not 1 to 11, cannot put in a performance. They can put in a performance because for the first 25 minutes, they actually looked like they knew what they were doing, and exactly what you're talking about. They're going from backwards to forwards. We had quite a few chances, you know, but Rashford just blazing it over the bar, and did exactly the same against Tottenham. So for the first 20 minutes, you're thinking, actually, these guys know how to play. So they do know how to play. The problem is that they do for 25 minutes, and then they, I don't know what happens to them. Well, normally they concede, and once they concede, they go all over the place. That to me is a management issue, because it means that you're not working on the structure that if you go behind, this is what you need to do. And actually, rather than if you go behind, you need to have an idea for that. But you shouldn't be going behind, because the goals we're conceding are so ridiculously soft. If that happens at bloody under 15, you'd be screaming at your kids saying, why have you just let him walk into the box without any challenge whatsoever? If you're number 9, I mean, even when you're a baby, you're taught, well, there's a number 9 there, centre-back should be marking him. And if for whatever reason the centre-backs have to go across because someone's been overlapping or whatever, then where's the defensive midfielder? I mean, in my day, you didn't have a defensive midfielder. You just had a midfielder. If I've got a defensive midfielder, how's a defensive midfielder letting the striker run past me? So, in other words, I am Casemiro, and I'm looking at the back of Welbeck's head, just looking at him, thinking, "Oh, I wonder what he's going to do then." So, what am I doing? What am I actually doing? So that means I'm standing on my own, looking at the football. That's ridiculous.
You know what?
I think Curtis and Steve just said it. Like this, they're both saying it's player power. It's players don't respect the gaffer. I don't think it's the question of the gaffer, Steve. It's the players. Their mentality is weak. As Curtis said it again, no respect for the badge. There's no one wants to bleed for the club anymore. No one wants to put in the extra mile, it feels like. No one wants to fight for the shirt, as he's saying. Like we've got a lot of players that are pampered divas, as he's saying, who are earning too much money. And I'm not one of these people, like, they earn what is the market rate for these players, you know what I mean? But we do give the top end wages to young kids who sometimes don't deserve it. And it feels like that with Sancho. And it just, the players are not doing their job. I don't think it's the manager's problem here. I think the players on the pitch on a Sunday, like you said, King, once we go 1-0 down, or there's one little bit of adversity, or something don't go right, boom, tools are down. Tools are down is a little harsh, but they don't seem to know how to bring themselves back up from that disappointment and or want to. Because even at my level, man, I wasn't even, like, I was amateur, but if you lost like Rashford, if I did what Rashford did and I was an inside forward, I'd be off. You have to track back, you know what I mean? yeah.
You've got to start what? I don't know.
He's got to start packing his bags. Getting out of it.
But yeah, like even at my level, like I'd be dragged off by an amateur manager because I'm not tracking back and helping my fullback. You know, the commentator said at one time, "Oh, you can see." I forget who it was. I think it might have been McTominay and Dallo talking about who should be coming back, whether it should be Rashford or blah blah blah. And it's like it should be Rashford. It's his wing. It's his wing, but he's not. He loses the fullback. Yeah. And it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. It really is. There's no effort's the wrong word. Passion and desire is what I'll say.
Well, interesting enough, if you watch that back, and maybe I'm misremembering, but I was watching Hannibal score. The man was running around like he'd scored a World Cup goal. The rest of them, like, you're thinking, well, you've got 20 minutes left or whatever. It's 15 minutes left. You've just come 3-1 back. Get another one. There's pressure on you at Old Trafford. But it's like Hannibal was the only one who seemed to be thinking, all right, hang on, we could be back in it. The rest of them were like, oh, yeah, well, okay. We've got a consolation goal. You know, and why is no one else doing what he's doing? He just picked up the ball, he's in midfield, controls it, thinks, actually, I can probably score from it, puts it in the bottom corner. You know, that's what you want to see from a Man United player. You know, and you've got no right wingers. Every single time I see Palestri come on, we create chances because he gets into the box and he cuts the ball back. And he can't get a start. You've got no wingers. And even then, you put Fernandez on the wing, who's useless on the wing. Absolutely useless. I mean, have some balls, and you're going to have to drop Fernandez or Eriksen. Stop playing them together because neither of them have really got legs. So put one there and put a proper winger on. And so you've got a proper striker. Get someone to supply him some balls. It's just ridiculous. I just don't get it.
You know what? You know what I think? I think when it comes to United, bloody hell, my mind just went blank. So go on, Garth.
I agree entirely with that game saying. Listen, like if you're in our group, you know what I think of Palestri. I think he deserves his minutes. I'm not saying he will do something. I'm saying he deserves his minutes. I hate Fernandez on the right wing. I hate it. I don't like. I'd rather have Eriksen on the right wing, funny enough, because at least Eriksen will just pump balls in. Like that's what he'll do. Because listen, if the gaffer don't trust Palestri, ship him out. Yeah. Ship him out. Like, because he's 21 years old now, but he ain't 18. He needs minutes. If you don't trust him, get out, mate. Move him on. Because someone will pay 20 mil for Palestri. Same as Garnacho. Why is Garnacho not starting? Sorry. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, but the thing is, and this is what I don't understand, because what Nathan's talking about is obviously people having something. You know what everyone else has got that we haven't got? Energy.
Yeah.
Lamptey, I'm not being funny. He's not a Premiership footballer, but the man's just keep going back, and that gives you a problem. Palestri is the same, but Palestri technically is much better than Lamptey. So why are you not putting him on? The guy has got energy, and he goes forward, and he puts good balls in the box, and he gets into the box, and he causes you problems. Same thing with Garnacho. Yes, his ball distribution is sometimes dodgy, but they run. They give you energy, and we have not got energy. We have not got energy. That's the fundamental.
You're damn right. And that was what I think. I was saying, when we've got our full starting 11, like the full starting team, I think we'll be okay. Like I said before, early on in the group, I said, you know what, guys, we're cruising for 9th to 10th at the moment. And I said, we're going to get touched up by Brighton today, because I can see the team that we got to choose from. Like, we haven't got a proper team to choose from. And I remember what we were like when we played Leeds last year, when we just had Casemiro missing. So to have Varane missing, all these boys missing, and I'm looking at the team going, there's no chance we're beating Brighton at Old Trafford. There's just no chance. I just can't see it happening.
There is.
And it's just what it is. It is what it is right now. And until we get our full team back, we are not going to be in and around 4th and 5th. So if we don't get them back quick, we will be 7th, 8th, even when we get everyone back.
I slightly disagree, because I think if McTominay had played alongside Casemiro and you'd sacrifice Bruno, so either Bruno's playing in number 10 or he's not playing, so you've got Eriksen in the number 10 and you put a proper winger on, actually, you wouldn't be running through him. If you just said to bloody McTominay, you have to keep, you're just screening the back, they wouldn't have scored. But we had no winger. That's the first thing. Bruno doesn't track back either. So you've got no winger. Well, you've got no winger. You've got no defensive cover. You've then got bloody Rashford, who's decided that actually, now I've got a nice contract. All I do is go forward and have shots. I don't have to do anything else. Reguilon, for example, had a good game. But the amount of times he overlapped, Rashford, and you're thinking, put him in. He's in. Yeah. And then Rashford just completely ignores him, goes inside, completely ignores Højlund, and another shot, which is fine if you hit the keeper or you hit the target. He's blazing it all over the place, and he about 4 or 5 times he's done it. He could have laid in. Højlund is standing there thinking, "Give me the ball." For like the goal he scored, he's a proper striker. He's always in and around it. Give him the ball, he's going to get chances. He had hardly any chances because Rashford keeps just banging it in, and we've got no one on the right wing who's giving him the ball. That's the issue.
That's what I was telling you before. Like, every team has a certain amount of quality in certain areas, and this is what a good manager can do. They say, I need this in the middle. Where's a player who specializes in this? I don't care if he's 10 million, 3 million. He needs to specialize in this little thing, and everything else I don't care. As long as I've got that in there, fine. And that's what we're missing in too many places. So we can play all the good football we want. If you get chances by we don't create chances from anywhere wide. None of our players create anything. Even Rashford doesn't really create things for people. He hasn't really got that creative thing about him. Then you've got, like I said, you've got Anthony or whoever you use. Sancho has not done it at the moment, but I do think this would have been his perfect time to make something happen, because he's got Højlund up there. And if he can't do it with Højlund up there, I don't think he's ever going to do it, because he's a willing runner to run in behind, directness, and that's what Sancho's used to playing for Dortmund, being direct, and then people like Bruno finding him, and then obviously because there's a lot more space. But if you've got no one running in behind, it doesn't create the space for him to have what he thrives off. So anyway, he's not going to play unless he fixes up. And it's just too much. And that's why I'm waiting. I'm pinning all my hopes on Ahmad getting fit. And I'm hearing that he's not going to be fit till next year. So I'm like, bloody hell. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Like, what happened to him in that game where we watched him? What did he injure?
He's injured. Mainu's injured. Bloody, I mean, everyone, Amrabat's got his back's broken in about 15 places. So, I mean, the scouting is West Ham the scouting actually, because Amrabat's an issue because obviously he's injured, but the rest of them, you're just thinking something's going on in the training.
It's not just the scouting for. Sorry, man. Go on. Sorry.
No, that finished. Yeah. Everyone's just.
I was going to say, it's not just the scouting of the talent; it's the deep dive on these players' personalities as well, and how they will cope and what they bring to the team mentally. It feels like for the last 10 years we've bought players solely on their technical ability and what they've done at other teams in different positions, in different systems, and we're just hoping that they're going to be able to replicate that in our system. It's a team of mismatched. Like our team is what? I mean. Have we still got Fergie? No, De Gea's gone now. So it's 5 different managers worth of players there, all over the gaff. They don't work hard enough. It's just, I mean, Ahmed, even if Ahmed comes in and does loads, he ain't going to be able to stop the rot from the rest of the positions. You know, like it's madness. It's madness, and we've got no money to spend even now until next year. We are in serious trouble. If like what you're saying, Nath, about only our first 11 can do it, which I sort of agree with you. We're in deep trouble because people are talking about like signing Frimpong in January and stuff, or signing. Mate, even if he was, we ain't got the money. We've got no money to spend, so we're in deep pudding. There's no two ways about it.
The only positive. I don't think we'll get relegated, and so a bad season could be the final straw that makes the bloody Glazers think, actually, we've had enough of this. That's the only thing. The only thing that's keeping me motivated, because I just keep thinking, you can't just keep buying, because the thing is, if we were spending no money, I'd say, oh, it's all right then. We're not spending any money. What do you expect? But every year we're spending ridiculous amounts of money, and we're just going. We're going like, even if we go forward, we're going forward by about an inch. We're never going. We're not really ever making massive strides where you think, "Oh, here we go. Now we can see some solidity." Now, I'm not too doom and gloom because it's still only 5 games in. So,
have you just heard yourself for the last half hour, mate? Because
as I said, Garth was taking me to the Garth side. I was quite positive this morning, but then Garth's negativity, and I started looking at it a different way. But now the thing is, you can see all the holes. But you can't say that we've got a worse playing squad than we did last season. So if we haven't got a worse playing squad, we should at least. Yeah, I know, but we had injuries last year as well. But we should at least be able to replicate what we did last season. So 5 games in, it's a horror show. There's no doubt about it. It's horrible. But last season, we were all thinking, oh, bloody hell, it's going to be an absolute disaster. It's going to be a long season. We came third and we got a trophy. So I'm not saying that's what's going to be replicated again. But what I do know is that we can turn it around, because I've seen glimpses. Glimpses which says, actually, if you can get their head right, there's nothing wrong with that team. That's the point. The point is, at the moment, as Garth said, they're just all over the place. So you need. That's why I'm blaming Ten Hag, not because it's his fault that they're all over the place, but it's down to the manager to find a solution to the problem that you see. Otherwise, what's the point of a manager?
No, I don't think we got enough.
I just throw a quick question out there. My mate, he's an Arsenal fan. He said maybe what we need is what Arsenal had, which is a season with nothing but the Premier League. Like we come 8th this year, no conference football, like no European football whatsoever. A reset season. Do you see that helping us at all? I'm on the fence with it personally. I'm not sure whether that helps us or not, but I'm starting to think that maybe we do need that, where there's no pressure on the team whatsoever. We've been awful for 2 years, like a year, so no one's expecting anything. Because as Man United fans, and it's silly to say, but I'm sure deep in all of us, we still have that glimmer of hope that we're going to win the league at the start of every season because we're Man United, you know what I mean? It just ain't true anymore. So do either of you see that helping us, a reset season with nothing but the league?
No, I think... Go on.
I was just going to say, I don't think so, because I think it's it's just a mentality issue, because actually, all right, we've got Europe. We haven't played a European game. We've only had 5 Premiership games, and we've been cack. That's not because of Europe, is it? So there's something fundamentally broken, because even, as we said on the group, everything Ronaldo said, completely wrong to say it, completely wrong the way he did it, but it seems to be true.
Yeah.
True in terms of what's going on in the background, because to have Ronaldo breaking ranks and doing what he did, is bad news. Then you've got Sancho doing it. Then bloody Mason Greenwood's up to all sorts of shenanigans. Then you got bloody Anthony. Now Anthony to me is the worst one because Ten Hag knows him and he brought him to the club. So there's no way that you can be a choir boy and then all of a sudden you're smacking your girlfriend around. It's just not possible. So that is definitely a mental. That's something you must have seen in him in all the time you've been working with him. So why spend 80, 90 million on a player who's not done it yet, and then now he's bloody smacking his girl? And whether or not he has been smacking his girlfriend around, let's say, for example, she is just one of those women who's actually making a claim which isn't true. You've got a person who's associated with the wrong kind of people. Fergie used to go to the bloody houses and flipping sit down with the families, talk about the grandparents. What are your grandparents? You know, because he wanted to know the character of the person. And we're getting someone who's smacking people around, or at least associating with people who are accusing him of smacking them around. You're thinking, what's going on here? You don't see it in other clubs. You're not seeing it all over the place. It seems to be uniquely Manchester United.
It's ridiculous. Beats guy got a point though. He says we can't have that. No European football would be financial disaster for United and the Glazers. We would probably be transfer banned. Then you got Curler saying, but Garth, I don't see that helping as the Glazers wouldn't spend almost nothing due to the issues of the pitch. And either players want it or they don't. The issue for me is they don't respect the manager to show the fight and passion they're paid for, and clearly a lot are taking a pee. Go on. You could say.
So yeah, just closely for the financial things that Beats Guy and Curtis have said. I don't care. As I said at the start of this, we've got the most expensively assembled football team in the world and of all time. So spending money doesn't mean anything to this club at the moment because we spend money all the time. Maybe we need to do this. Take a step back, bring up a couple of youth players, have a real look into the transfer market and find a Swedish like geezer playing for Malmo or a geezer out playing for Heerenveen in Holland or something. That is what you're talking about, Nath. System players that come in and actually they're not as good as an Anthony, but they're a system player.
In the name.
Yeah, like, they haven't got the big name or the marquee signings. So the financials don't bother me at the moment. It has to be said.
You got to go and find one of those boys, like Mitoma, for example. Mitoma's come from nowhere. He's doing a PhD on how to take players on, and all of a sudden now he's a top player. Why can't we get them boys before they're known as a top player? Like that's what I would have hoped that we did with this guy, and then Anthony comes in for the top player money, but he should be at the same price as 30-40 mil. Like he shouldn't be any more than that. And how much was Mitoma? You know, how much was all these boys that Brighton have just sold recently? Like the centre got to Chelsea for 100 mil and. But, you know, they sold a few other players the season before, even like to all the big boys. They're somehow finding the gems at no price. And then all of a sudden, they're blossoming in their team. What happened to us? Where's our recruitment? What are we doing? Like,
but the thing is, Nathan, I think if you look at our youth team and some of our younger players, we've got gems in there. We just don't play them. You know, we've got defenders who are better than Lindelof, but he won't play them. You've got no one on the right wing, and he won't play Palestri. You've got no one in the middle of the park. He only brings Hannibal on right at the end when Casemiro looks like he's actually lying with a cigar. You know, you're like, if this isn't the time to give some of those young players an opportunity, well, they're never going to get a chance because even Ahmed, when last season, no, he was on loan money. You've got Anthony, who's crap, basically, I think I can say that now because he's just not performed.
I told you last year when you lot hated me for saying it early.
No, all I said was I'm going to wait till this season before I judge him. But you've got Ahmed, who actually, as a wing, when he was playing under Solskjaer, I was watching him and thinking, yeah, he's raw, but his performances are good, and he takes the player on, and he tries to shoot, and then you ship him off. And you ship him off, and then you got Palestri, and you're thinking, why are you not playing these guys? And even if Anthony was a world class player, you'd still keep Ahmed as a squad player. Why do you ship him off? I don't get it. So I think we've actually got some players who are exactly like what you're talking about, but we just don't play them. Mainu is now injured.
It's a system, though, isn't it?
Why to play him? Why
remember, when them boys play, they need to be in a system where it makes it so it's possible for them to flourish. Like at the moment, we're not in that position. Like if we put a boy, remember when we put Hannibal in at Anfield, and then Maguire gave him a hospital ball, and then we concede, So now he's come on and he feels bad because we're playing dead football and we give him a dead ball and then we see. It seems like we bring on Palestri when we're getting whooped or something, and then he never gets the ball on the right. And then when he does get it, the one time he does something very good with it, and then we never give him the ball back again for the next 30 minutes. Like, we have to play. You see how, I think, by the way, Doku scores today, didn't he? So remember what I say, this guy can come into a
Makeda scored on his debut as well. Remember that, Nate? So
yeah,
David Gomez.
I'm saying, like, he's come into a system where it's gonna be easy for him to get goals, like, because they're just in a system, and then you go over there, lad, and when the ball comes to you, play it simple, and then you'll just get a ball on your lap, lad, right in front of goal with 1 yard to bang it in. So when that happens, make sure you score it, lad. That's what I want United to do, but we don't have it, and that's the killer, man. And that's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do. You put Palestra on the right today, he probably won't get the ball for the whole game, and then everyone will be like, "You should play." Get him off.
But when he came on, he was effective, and he was certainly more effective than Fernandez. And so I agree when you talk about other parts of the pitch. Wing play is so simple. That's why every other club has got decent wingers, because I get the ball and I go past you and I pull the ball back or I put it in the box for a striker. I don't need a system. I just know, give me the ball. I'm standing on the last man, and if I've got some pace or a bit of trickery, I'm going past him. I'm putting the ball in. And you can do that all day, every day. Rashford doesn't do it because he's got poo between his ears, so he's always trying to shoot the shot. And then Fernandez doesn't do it because he can't get the ball past the player, and nor can what's his name, Anthony. But Palestri can. Every single time I see Palestri one-on-one, you know what he's going to do, but you can't stop him. He drops his shoulder and he's in the box. Virtually every single time he gets in the box, and he's got end product because he pulls the ball back or he gets the shot off or something. So I'm thinking to myself, the most effective winger we have is Palestri. Well, actually, with Ahmed out, but both of them do the same thing. Both of them go down the wing and get the ball in the box, and they never get a game. You keep playing bloody flipping Anthony, who has no end product whatsoever. Loads of skill when he's on the halfway line. He can do a pirouette around 3 players, and he'll put it out of play. So
I don't think he's got loads of skill, Hakeem. His skill never beats anybody. His skill, think about it, yeah? God, tell me if I'm wrong. But when you do a skill, you're meant to take someone out of the game, right? And do something that makes it so we overloading the other team. When has he ever done anything where you say, oh my gosh, what a skill that is? And he's done him and he's created a chance and scored and made an assist. Nothing.
That's not about, but that doesn't mean he's got no, right, let's call him Tekers then. He's still got skill. So, for example,
he's got skills that don't do anything, that lead to nothing. That's what I'm saying.
And Jadon Sancho was now falling into the same category, because when you were saying, oh, this is perfect for Sancho, I'd say no, because that guy is probably the most talented player we've got. But he's got
decision making, his ability to pass is better than Anthony's.
It 100%. But he doesn't use it, does he? He doesn't use it because at least Anthony runs forward. Jadon Sancho slows everything. It's like going in slow motion. You're on a break at 90 miles an hour. Jadon Sancho gets it, stops, and then passes it back to Wan-Bissaka. So I'm a right winger, and I'm giving it to my right back and saying, oh, actually, I can't go past him, but I want you to do it. Well,
no, what he's doing, this is what I'm saying now about Hakim. If you have a man running that way, and Sancho's on the ball, he can now pop it with someone. But if you've got no one to pop it with or no one stretching the game, then his game's nullified. That's the Sancho kind of footballer he is. He's not a get me at him, let me get on the ball and dribble at this guy, which I thought he was because I heard Rio saying it, and I was thinking he's got skills to pay the bill. And at the same time, when you look at him playing for Germany, it was players diving him and him skipping these stupid dives. That's different from someone standing you up and going, beat me, where Saka takes you on. Them players take you on. Sancho is not that kind of player, and nor is Anthony. He's a player also who, when they come running in, he can skip you. That's fine, and leave you running behind in the Netherlands league. But here we go. Listen, beat me, lad, beat me, and none of them can do that.
So that's then Ten Hag's fault, isn't it? Because he's playing. Yeah. He keeps playing people who cannot beat a player, and you need wingers who can beat a player, because it overloads. It takes people out of the game. But the thing is, it's so simple. And even if you haven't got any techers at all, Anthony's relatively quick. Gareth Bale for Tottenham for several seasons did nothing apart from put the ball in front and think, I'm quicker than you. So I'm going to put the ball 5 yards in front and I'm running onto it. I don't have to have any skill whatsoever. I just need to run past you. So Anthony could at least do that. But he didn't do it.
You took the words out of my mouth, because that was me. I got no real technique whatsoever, but I was rapid. So I just hit the ball. I was a right winger. I just hit the ball past them, licked onto it, and just put my foot through it. And it either went in or went across for someone to tap it in. You know what I mean? Like, it's as simple as you're saying, mate. So
well, this is the thing, yeah. This is why sometimes you hear me coming out with some stupidness, going, you know what? That's why I would take what was the Wolves winger? That's why I'd take him.
Traore,
Traore over these guys, or that's why I would take the Newcastle winger who's just gone to.
I take it back about James Ward-Prowse as well, lads. Like that, what I was saying about that was a mistake. Like, no, he would absolutely improve this midfield right now. Like, I'm saying it live on air right now. He would absolutely.
What's he done to make
he scored again. No, he scored again today. What has he done? He's done nothing, mate. I'm watching Man United's midfielders. That's what has changed my opinion. He would absolutely improve this team at the moment.
Thank you.
Yeah, I take that back. I still ain't having John Joe Shelby though, Nath. I'm still not having John Joe Shelby, mate.
I said he was better than McTominay. That was all.
Last season. It's an old joke.
I didn't say he's a great midfielder, but I said he's got more about his game than McTominay. Sorry.
He can pass to a player of the same colour. So he's obviously better than McTominay, then, isn't he?
Oh, bloody hell. Ward-Prowse, he does the job, that he. Yes, Ward-Prowse. He's not even. He just signed for another club and we were arguing about him for so long. Like he's ever going to
40 mil. Anyway. 40 mil as well. Definite bargain right there. So
yeah, but if United bought him, he'd be 75 mil.
Yeah, rubbish. We wouldn't have him on. We wouldn't even have him on free kicks or corners either. We wouldn't have him taking set pieces because that's how we roll. We're not letting you play into his strengths. Oh, I see. I'm not.
No, that's my friend. He's Arsenal support. He's messing about.
Oh, right.
He's trolling us. He's trolling us.
I mean, the thing is, it's Ten Hag's second season. He had a good first season. He's obviously slow to get off the mark. But you can't be, you have to give him at least another season. Obviously, if we finish like 10th, 12th, 3rd, then you're thinking, hang on, there's something not quite right here. But I don't think with the players we've got, and from what I saw from Ten Hag last season, I still think I'll still back him. I'm not saying we're going to win anything, but I'd still back him to start putting in some proper performances because he must be mortified. I mean, watching that back, I mean, geez, that piece. I've never seen. I mean, you're watching it, you're thinking the first 20 minutes, I was getting quite excited, thinking this is nice. But as soon as we conceded, I thought, here we go. And we just crumbled, absolutely melted.
Well, on the final note, guys, I'm gonna get your opinions on what needs to change. Garth, give me 20 seconds of what needs to change. Hakeem as well. Go on, Garth.
20 seconds, man. I need like 7 days.
It's a long time.
Mentality. I think the players are technically sound. They've got the ability. We need mentality monsters now, and we need Ten Hag to get that instilled into the dressing room. How? I don't know. I'm not. I couldn't tell you. I'm not a manager of any sort. So, but mentality. That's the biggest loss for me at the moment. The biggest key ingredient we're missing.
What are you seeing? What do you think is going to change for us to have our fortunes change?
He needs to go in there and get like a taser set up, and every time you misplace a pass, you get tased. Anytime you release, anytime that you don't track back, you get tased. You need because it's about structure mentality, isn't it? And it's almost like a Pavlov dog. You have to associate pain with
Pavlovian response.
It's the only way you can do it. It's the only way you can do it.
It's quality. Just get a cattle prod on the sideline. Come here, lads. Come here.
I think we'll be all right once we get every player fit, and then we'll be all right. I think.
Once everyone's back, 2025. That's when they'll
hey, by the way, did you see that video about the guy going? I told you. You know what the problem is? It's the coach. It's that fitness coach. It was really good. Look, you see all the players that are injured. This player, that player. It's him. We need to get him out. So yeah, that's the truth. That is the truth.
Oh God!
You should buy a dog.
Just there's no ratings on this, obviously, but they're all ones. Every single one of them.
I'm going to be watching United channel, so I can watch the full replay of this game and break it down.
Don't do it to yourself, mate. Don't do it to yourself. What's match of the day?
So long till United to play, man. I haven't seen us play.
Mate, it was horrific. If you last 90 minutes, honestly, I don't know, obviously none of us are gamblers here, but honestly, I'd love to have a little bet of you a fiver because you ain't making 90 minutes, mate. There's absolutely no way.
You'll have it on permanently on fast forward.
You know, double time all the way through.
Actually, I'd give an Arner about a decent score because actually he saved us. He was getting peppered and he saved us quite a few times. Actually, he
outfield players, outfield players all won.
He did.
Yeah. No, and Reguilon gets a 4 as well. So but the rest of them ones.
dead. Okay, well look, we've only got a small game in Bayern next week anyway, so
what's happening, Nathan? Either one or two things: we're going to smash them, or we're going to get absolutely mullered. It's not going to be a close game at all. It's not. It's going to be one of those.
United are going to get smashed then, isn't it? So because we're not ready. Yeah. If we don't have fitness, but any players back from injury, we are getting tonked until we get sorted.
Someone put their top 4 up on Twitter and was like, "Look at this. How can you say they're going to beat us?" And I was looking at it and I was like, Mane, Gnabry, Thomas Muller, and Harry Kane. I don't know what you're looking at, lad, but that's how they're going to devastate us.
And you didn't even mention their left wing, their fullbacks.
Alphonso Davies, he's
fastest player, mate. Bloody hell. Anyway, look, thank you.
7 at the back.
Exactly. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your comments, everybody. It's been great having a chat. Not great result. It's not been a great day football-wise, but look, we live to fight another day, United, hopefully. And that next day is against Bayern Munich on Wednesday. So join us for the aftermath of that one. Thanks a lot, Garth. Thanks a lot, Keith. We'll see you the next time.
Pleasure's always.